I'm sure we all know how it feels to be with someone toxic like a narcissist. What I want to talk about here is what personally bothered me the most, made me feel the worst, and how I got myself untangled from all of it and able to move forward. So, how it felt dating a narcissist. First and foremost, it gave me a constant feeling of loneliness. One of the weirdest things I've truly ever experienced in my life was being with someone in a relationship, but still feeling completely alone all of the time, regardless of what was happening. I never married this man, and I never felt safe and secure enough with the idea of moving in and more so merging our lives together. So there was always that disconnect, I have to be honest. But as time moved on, things actually got worse and worse. There were less visits and less time spent together, less phone calls, less texting, as my relationship did that classically narcissistic thing where communication dwindles down and becomes nothing. And lo and behold, I was discarded. Didn't take long after that. So much of my time was spent wondering, where is he? What was going on? Who is he cheating on me with now? Am I getting the truth? Is this really something that I can buy into? These really terrible, awful feelings. All I did was act as a problem solver for him and run errands. And clearly that was what I seemed to sign up for and be okay with for a year and a half. But it was all extremely lonely. Loneliness is something that doesn't go away after the relationship is over. It's not, as if you're saying, well, now that the relationship is over, now I'm completely alone. I think when something ends with a narcissist, it's like, wow, it's over, and I actually feel just as lonely as I did before. Maybe a little bit more lonely, but I realize now how alone I actually was through that entire relationship. Curing loneliness isn't something that I'm going to sit here and pretend that I excel at doing, and I don't know who does. But I found what honestly worked best for me was deciding I needed to dive into my passion, which quickly became figuring out what the hell I was actually passionate about. And it very quickly became my research and this channel, which I worked so hard at that it became my full-time job. I know that when you're trying to fix something like loneliness, for example, this is just not something that distractions can fix. I got horrible advice from several YouTube videos that said, just distract yourself. Fill every second of the day with doing something else. And it's horrible advice. I'll also tell you the advice of, just go find somebody else. And that doesn't work either. Not because a new person sucks, though most of them probably will, but that doesn't fix anything. What fixes loneliness, what makes you really feel better, is passion and purpose and understanding that there is real love in the world and it's worth waiting for. It's worth working on yourself to go and find that real love. That's what's going to fix loneliness. Passion, purpose, and waiting to find what is actually right for you. If you'd like to talk one-on-one about a narcissistic relationship that you're in right now, or maybe you are still working on getting over a relationship like this, you can email BookAChatWithJess@gmail.com to set up private chats and coaching with me if you feel you need it. The next most glaring feeling I always seemed to have was humiliation and feeling very, very stupid. Now, I was never publicly humiliated or anything like that, thank goodness. This was more going on all inside of my brain. Ironically, he wasn't actually doing anything to me. I was doing this to myself. I felt stupid staying with a man that I knew was cheating on me. It was humiliating to try so hard for someone, give so much to somebody, all I had, and I still seemed to fall short regardless of what I did. Or it wasn't appreciated what I was doing. On occasion, I was even told things like, well, I didn't ask you to do that. Instead of, the normal human response, which should be, thank you. I constantly asked myself, why am I continuing to do this exactly? And I felt even more stupidity upon my discard. My ego wasn't just bruised, it was run over by a fucking car when I had done everything I could do, put up with so much, did so much shit I never even wanted to do in the first place, and then I was dropped like garbage that never mattered at all. More pain was added onto all of that when I realized I never truly did matter and nobody does. As you very well know, that's a place that's really hard to come back from. Feeling humiliated and stupid and having an ego bruise of the millennium took a while to fade away. There is a difference, though, between being naive and being stupid. I simply didn't know what any of this is. I knew it was wrong and toxic, but I never really put much more thought into it than any of that. I knew the things that were going on were not correct. I had no idea this whole world and all these phrases and this jargon and everything existed. It doesn't make me, you, or anybody else stupid if you are purposefully tricked. Being tricked, being lied to. Yes, obviously I'm clueless as to what is going on. I'm going to be. Narcissists love doing these things. If me being naive and this man tricking me did something for his life, for his self-esteem, you know what? Good for him. That's all I can really say. I made it a mission to educate myself in an attempt to be less naive. I told myself I would never make the same mistake again. In time, you just stop being so hurt about it and feeling stupid. Like I say, I always go back to, if he really thinks he got something over on me, good for him. You know what? I let him have that win. People like this really, really need every single win they can get their hands on. They have a sorry, sad-ass little life, so, they can have it if they think they just schooled me or they were so much smarter. Fine. That's really fine. I truthfully can't be bothered at this point. Another thing that was one of the worst feelings, so to speak, and what was happening was all of my self-esteem that just got shattered. And when I met this person, I already had very little to begin with, so it didn't take long at all for me to have absolutely none. After being chewed up and spit out and discarded, you feel lower than low. That kind of goes without saying. Years ago, I actually had to sit down and Google ways to boost self-esteem. I had to take notes and write out a list of things that I actually had to force myself to do. Self-esteem and confidence take time to get back. Again, another thing that goes without saying. But full recovery in and of itself after something like this is a huge process. And if you think you're just going to go from being broken and beside yourself to completely better, now that is something that is also naive. Very naive thought to have. You have to heal from the relationship and get in a better place before the focus can even become, all about you and boundaries and standards and self-esteem and everything like that. You have to heal from the relationship, put the relationship to bed, get in a better place with dealing with all of that. Then you actually have to sit down and begin doing all of the work on yourself. I guess I'm learning that real true healing from something like this happens when you want it to, and not until. You'll feel as good as you want to feel. You will work as hard as you want to work if and when you're ready. As controversial as this next sentence is going to be, I'm saying it anyway because fuck it, I don't care. Truthfully, I don't think a lot of survivors truly want to heal. I think they want to study this person that they've dated, and they want to study them like some kind of fucked up 6th grade science experiment. And as fascinating as narcissists are, and they are, it takes a lot of focus off of us. And we don't have to fix us when we hyper-focus on this person and how much of an asshole they are. Some people just kind of want to sit in that zone and not have to work on themselves and focus on something that somebody else did. But that's my opinion, and I suppose it's neither really here nor there. Depression is another really big thing that can happen, and pretty much it always does. Depression and anxiety, they're wonderful bedfellows. I find a lot of time, this list is really endless. I mean, we can all feel just a number of things when we're dealing with somebody like this. But with that being said, these were the biggest problems for me. So now I'm throwing it over to you to share with me down in the comments. What were the worst things for you? What were the worst feelings that you had when you were, with somebody narcissistic? Or if you're still in this relationship, how are you feeling right now? If you feel better, maybe you're out of the relationship. Tell me how you feel. Thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. Have a great day, survivor, and take care of yourself.